Hello, Bronco Nation. Welcome to the Bronco Country Roundup. My name is Carter Davis. I'm here with Chris Van Sickle and Chase Glorfield. Evan is not here because I guess he has to catch a flight or something. Something about traveling. Who knows?
Who's
Who
busy
knows
this time of year? I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Who's busy? What's going on? Nothing. I don't know what he's doing. Doesn't matter. So it's just us three tonight, but we got a lot of things to talk about. A lot of Bronco stuff going on. First thing we're going to dive into right off the bat, Chase, I heard that the basketball team got a new recruit. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, in a way, I guess, a bit of a surprise, especially when you kind of look at his offer list. But power forward Spencer Ahrens, I think is how you say his last name, Ahrens. He's out of Canada. I had to look up the pronunciation of the city he's from. Mississauga, I think, Canada.
Okay.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. And I think he's been playing down at Bella Vista Prep in Scottsdale, Arizona. Just kind of one of those like prep schools to get these guys noticed by colleges.
Yeah.
6'9", 210 pound. I was talking to Chris earlier. I'd call him a stretch forward, a guy who can bang down low and get rebounds and play some good defense down low, but he has no qualms about popping outside and hitting the 3-pointer. So really, really versatile athlete. And man, if you look at his offer list, hold on, let me get to this. Boise State, obviously, he committed a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Georgetown, Illinois, Michigan, Missouri, Oregon, Seton Hall, Xavier, Washington, among others, all have offered this kid.
Golly.
Yeah, and on end of October 29th, he named a top 6 of Boise State, Gonzaga, Illinois, San Francisco, Stanford, and Washington. And Leon Rice and company secured a verbal commitment from him, and he's a guy that I think could play as a true freshman, really come in and have an impact. Yeah. So big get for Leon Rice and the Broncos on the hard court.
Hearing that Gonzaga name in his offer list is crazy. I never thought Boise State would beat out Gonzaga for any sort of recruit.
Yeah. Dyson Dagenhart out. Enter in this young man.
Yep. Well, that's also good because, coming in with the new Pac-12, Gonzaga is going to be a part of that. So they're going to start becoming a person we battle with. So just getting that out in the open is awesome, I think.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, it's interesting because it was back in August, early August, a 24/7 guy had him crystal balled to Illinois. So clearly some things changed.
Rice
but
did something. Yeah.
It's big deal. So,
yep.
Yeah.
All right. Good on Coach Rice. All right, Chris. We're going to move to you because transfer portal time, lots of visits, lots of commits, lots of stuff going on. What do you got?
Yeah, it's getting pretty wild out there. I'll go over just the commits first, and then we'll talk about some of the visits that have come in. The first one was Demetrius Freeney. He's a cornerback. He started out at a JUCO, and make sure I'm getting this right, guys. Then he went to Miami, the Hurricanes, and then transferred to Arizona, and has now transferred to Boise State with 2 years of eligibility. Check out his tape. He's a talented young man, real highly recruited out of that from after his JUCO year. So that's a big get for them.
Sure.
And then a guy that I talked to, I hope you all go check out the interview, Dion Washington, a defensive tackle transfer from Hawaii. He played really well against us.
He had a great game against us.
He did. Yeah. So
you don't see him making a lot of tackles, but man, he clogs up some space in the middle.
That's what we did.
And he talked about that in our interview that he knew Sheldon Newton and Herbert Gums are gone. So there's a spot for him to play immediately. He's a really talented guy, really well-spoken guy. I hope you go check out the interview. So those are the 2 commits. There's always a source says this, a source says that, a crystal ball, a projection. I don't love guessing, so I'm not going to say there's any more commits as of yet. I can confirm a couple more visits, though. A young man, Dylan Botts. He's a defensive lineman. He played D3 ball, and I know a lot of people probably see that and go, well, what is Boise State doing? Watch his tape, guys. This kid is an explosive athlete. I know I talked to him. He is still taking other visits. He visited Boise State this weekend. He will be checking out BYU as well.
Wow.
So I mean, he's getting looks from
Poor kid.
Big 12 teams.
Poor
Yeah.
kid.
Well.
Yeah, if you look at his tape, the technique with his hands and the footwork is impressive.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think jumping from D3 to Division 1 is more to show how good he is versus like on Boise State, because to even get your name into like Boise State recruiting is hard enough. Going from a D3 to that level, that shows that he's got something that was just missed. It's not Boise State, I think, scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I agree. Yeah, and so really, really hopeful about him. A couple more visitors that I've confirmed. Malachi Riley is a wide receiver transfer from University of Arizona. He was highly recruited out of high school. 6'2", 180-pound wideout. That would be a nice get for Boise State. I hope.
Well, hold on. You say 6'2", 280?
No, 180. Sorry.
Okay, I was about to say that was a massive wide receiver.
Sorry,
Big man. All right, there we go.
So and then
position in need right now, so that would be a big
deal, especially with Camper.
Sure. Yeah. Camper. And then Sherrod Smith, another corner. He played at College of Mateo, so he's a JUCO guy. Really loved his tape as well. I did talk to him a little bit. He's not committing yet, but I think Boise State's in a pretty good spot as of right now to get a commit from that young man. So, and then there's more other names. A guy named Carrington Pierce is someone I'm excited about. He's a corner, a JUCO prospect. He's interesting. He did not play a single snap of football in high school. Started practicing and training, obviously after high school. Went the JUCO route, and his tape is impressive. He is a cornerback. He's taking other visits as well, but he did visit Boise State. And then you get, that's the ones I feel best talking about at this point. It's wild, man. Every day we find new guys. I know Carter, you just posted on X about, was his name Riley Wilson?
The linebacker transfer.
Oh, yep. Right? There's a Montana guy. Yep. I think it's not Riley. It's something else. I did just post about it. I'll find it real quick. But I know he's getting some good looks because he is
Riley Wilson.
It is Riley Wilson. All right, I'm stupid. That's my bad.
No, you're good.
I thought it was something else. But yeah, he's getting a lot of looks, especially from coming from the FCS Montana to I think he just visited Boise State, Arizona, Memphis, and Houston. So that's some good visits right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's a wild time. It's hard to believe that these coaches are all these visits are going on when they're getting ready. I mean, this. Yeah.
Well, and to go on, how do you even sort through everything as a coach? Like you have to go in with a plan, right? You're like, hey, we kind of need some turnover in our defensive back room. And we saw some of that. Some guys hit the portal. We need some guys to come in that can play now. But where do we go? JUCO? Do we go transfer? Do we try and get some of these kids already on the road? Like, what do? You have to have a plan, and you got to stick to it. And there's a lot of things to sort through.
I mean, if I were a betting man, there has to be somebody in that administration that is strictly looking at the portal. Like their only job is to filter. Yeah. Because I mean, I can't tell the numbers off the top of my head, but it's in the thousands of kids that are in that portal looking for a spot, and you got to do a lot of filtering.
Yeah.
Yep. So crazy time for football recruit. Before we dive into college football playoff talk, because there's a lot to do there, just want to give a quick shout out to the basketball team. Just got their first conference win against Air Force. So good job, boys. Way to keep it going. Try to get it going to the end of the season. Try to win a tournament or win a regular season.
Good warm-up game before you hit the meat of that Mountain West schedule, right?
Yep. How good is Air Force? I really don't know.
Good.
Not good? Okay, that's great. Good. Not much to
they can't shot block in basketball, so
they made them look not good. So that's the good news.
Okay. There's a silver lining in it. Yeah. Alrighty, so now we're moving on to the meat of the topic. Some big games happened this weekend. First round of the college football playoff. So I believe we have a bracket to throw up if you want to. Yep. First round of the college football playoff happened. What you're seeing is now the quarterfinals, but now we dive into those. I just want to check in and see how everybody's feeling. So we're going to start with Chase. Did you watch any games? How'd you feel about the first round at all?
Yeah, I watched as much as I could. I caught most of all of the games. You know, I kind of had some things to do. Was kind of out and about a little bit. My son had a basketball game, but I, was sneakily watching on my phone while my wife wasn't looking. Trying to multitask, as it were. Overall, you saw some blowouts, maybe some moments where you thought a team could come back into and make things interesting. And I know there's been a lot of belly aching from different people about the blowouts and the wrong team's in, blah, 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 blah. And I'm tired of that narrative. Like, you earn your spot in. Like, losing a game in the playoff doesn't mean you didn't deserve to be there, right?
Exactly.
It means that for whatever reason, you didn't win that game, whether it's because you weren't as good as the other team, because you played like crap that game, or because the other team just played better, right? But you look at all these, and Tennessee had to go play in cold weather. SMU had to go play in cold weather.
Yep.
There's just a lot that goes into it. The home teams won the games by significant margins, and it's I think what happened is what we expected for the most part. The higher seeds win, the home team wins, and you're gonna that kind of stuff is what happens in these games. I don't expect every game to be a blowout going forward. I think you're going to see a lot more close games.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun to see how this thing works, and we'll see what kinks they work out over the next few years. Say hi, Otto.
Hi, buddy.
All right, can you go upstairs, Mom?
No. Well, while Chase is with that, I'll kind of go off of him for a second. Yeah, I mean, I put out a tweet after, I believe, the SMU game. I put out a tweet saying two things can be true at once. The teams that were left out did not deserve to be in the playoff, and Indiana and SMU were outclassed in their games. Because that's the truth. Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina did not deserve to be there, because if the regular season doesn't matter, then you might as well just pick the playoff by hypothetical betting lines, because that's honestly what some people want. And so Indiana deserved to be there. SMU deserved to be there. But they went into two of the most historic home field advantages and tried their best and got blown out. That's what happened. And people seem to just forget that, like, TCU got blown out in the national championship. Clemson blew out Alabama. It went like a few years into the 4-year playoff. Like, blowouts happen. It's not some sort of like death sentence on the 12 seed playoff that a blowout happened when a better team just played better.
I saw a tweet. I don't remember who it was, or a post on X. Sorry, I got to get my terminology right.
Yeah.
That in the 4-team playoff format they've had, the average margin of victory in the first round was like 17.2 points. And the first round of this one, it was like 18.6. So we're like, it's like 1.5 difference. I mean, teams lose, teams get blown out.
Yeah, there is levels to this, and that's the whole point of the 12-team playoff, is to give more people a chance. But when you give more people a chance, there's going to be discrepancy in talent.
Yeah,
and we saw that. Chris, anything to add on? Any sort of burn and take you want to throw there?
No, not really. I did. I was a little surprised how big the home field advantage helped. I thought that was pretty significant, and I hope that they don't see that and think, oh, that's a bad thing. I think that's great. I love home field playoff games. Yeah. Don't mess with that. It's not always going to go down like that, but it certainly did this year, and I bet it was an amazing atmosphere at some of those games. The Tennessee fans at Ohio State game certainly didn't help Tennessee, now did it? Because there was a lot of orange in the horseshoe, and
it did not matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, watching the Indiana Notre Dame game, I legit almost got chills at one point. I was like, this is just so historic for that for that venue. It's so cool for the fans.
And it's like so the first Friday night football game they've ever played in that stadium.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And it's historic for Indiana too. Like that matters. It's a playoff game at Notre Dame. They had the opportunity. And that's what you want, as an opportunity from this. Like, so they didn't take advantage of it, but those games matter more than, I think, the Sugar Bowl, because when they're being reduced to playoff games and all that. But first round at home is awesome to see, I think.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward, because some of these teams that won, they lost some dudes to injuries kind of as the games went on, and maybe having the bye is super significant. We'll find out, right? We'll find out going forward, but it's not bad to have some rest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now I want to zoom in kind of on the game that mattered most to us. It was Penn State SMU, first game of the 3-game stretch that happened yesterday. So, Chase, you said you watched it. Chris, did you get a chance to look at Penn State SMU at all?
Yes, I did watch the whole game.
All right. All right. So, like, what were maybe just your takeaways of that game? Like, what did you think of Penn State? What did you think of SMU?
Penn State looked good. I mean,
Yeah.
they played, I think, the same style of football we've seen them play all season, right? Sorry, my son.
That's
They got enough offensively, and their defense is what carried it home for them, right? And it was interesting because SMU early on, Kevin Jennings, he's a stud. I think it's gonna be a good learning experience for him.
Yeah.
Very early on, he had some throws and some moments where he's like, "Holy crap, what's happening?" Like, it was just the moment was just too much. The environment was too much. I don't know what it was, but he looked overwhelmed very early in that game, unfortunately for SMU.
Yeah. Chris, did you watch it at all? What'd you think?
Yeah, I watched it, and quite honestly, to quote the great Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were. That's the Penn State I thought we were going to see, and that's the Penn State that I was hoping Boise State would match up against, quite frankly. Good offense, both offense and defensive line are both going to be a huge challenge for Boise State, but I think it's something. I think it's the right matchup for Boise State.
Yeah. I think one thing that maybe was, and that Chase just brought up, that maybe is being overlooked a little bit, is the environment of Happy Valley, because that's 106,000 people screaming down on top of you. And Kevin Jennings, he missed that first throw on that 4th down for a touchdown. Usually not the biggest deal. You still got a lot of game to go, but I mean, imagine 106,000 people yelling at you after you just cost your team 7 points, and then you throw a pick 6. So you have 106,000 people. Oh, Chris is gone.
Oh no,
that's okay. I'll keep yapping. He'll find
it
his
was
way.
on
There
purpose. My camera's falling. So
I got you. So you got all the pressure of the missed throw. Now you got the pressure of the pick 6, and then you get a pressure of another interception. Then you got the pressure of another pick 6. And so I truly think it wasn't Penn State beat SMU. It was SMU beat themselves to a point that the game plan's gone. You have to throw the ball, but your quarterback is now it now has the mental fortitude of bubble wrap. Like, just nothing's going to work for him.
He was shook. Like, it was pretty clear he was
well, the announcers, the broadcasters even said, like, he's not looking downfield at his receivers. He's looking at the pass rush. This guy coming from his blind side, like, he's completely out of sorts. Like, everything just thrown away, as Carter said. Game plan gone. We got to throw, but our guy can't throw. He's losing his. It snowballed real quick.
Yeah,
I think he kind of had one of those cases of the yips, where you're just overthinking it, and he's staring down wide receivers, and like you said, he's looking at the line, not downfield. So I felt bad for the kid, honestly. That was something that will haunt him, that people always bring up, but it happens. It happens.
Yeah, and I think that's why, kind of transitioning to the Fiesta Bowl, that's why I think Boise State somewhat has the advantage, at least when it comes to environment, because it's in Arizona. A lot of Bronco Nation is going to travel. I'm not sure about how good Penn State travels, but I'm assuming it's good enough. But it's not 106,000 people yelling at you. Maddox did that in Autzen, and now it's a neutral field. And that's where I really think the advantage for Boise State is going to come from for the Fiesta Bowl, is that neutral environment.
Yeah, I agree. Boise Bronco fans will travel well, including my in-laws, those lucky sons of guns, and our own Chase Galore-field.
That's right. The wife surprised me with a trip to the Fiesta Bowl.
That's a good wife right there.
You only told me early because we're flying and booking hotel, and yep, I'll be there. It's gonna be awesome.
Honey, if you
have a full report.
Watching this is what you should do.
Yes,
just for the record.
The way to a man's heart is Fiesta Bowl tickets.
Fiesta Bowl tickets, yeah. So I want to go, around all three of us, like, what are the biggest keys to the game? Just your guys' opinion real quick, but I'll start with me, kind of give you guys time to think. Like I said, I think the environment is the biggest thing. You're not going to have that, very pro Penn State environment that Maddox and the team has to deal with. And also, I just really think the Penn State defense is not great. They're very good because when they went to the Big Ten championship, but SMU was moving the ball at some points. I mean, they got into the red zone before Penn State did. They had the ability to put up points. They still moved the ball with the run game, while Kevin Jennings was basically not helping his team at all. And so I really think this Penn State defense is weak enough for Ashton Genty and Dirk Cutter to kind of cut up. Now, the offense is a different tale. Penn State offense looked elite. Yeah. I'm not sure about how the Bronco defense is really going to match up there, but I really think the battle of this game is how well can Boise State run the ball on the Penn State Big Ten defensive line, because that defense did not look great to me, and I think Ashton can really pop off on them.
Yeah.
All right, so Chase, what do you think? What are some keys to the game for the Broncos with Penn State?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to call this the Stacey Collins Bowl. He was at Penn State. He was Boise State, then Penn State, then came back.
Yep.
So just wanted to throw that out there. If you look at what happened with Jennings, the interceptions, 2 of them were returned for touchdowns, right? And the first thing that came to my mind was how good of a job Maddox Madsen has done this year at taking care of the ball, right? There's been a few moments, maybe he overthought it. Maybe he's got lucky a few times, like there's some luck involved in some of that. But he's really done a good job of being a game manager. He's made some good throws at times, made some mistakes at times. But I have a really hard time seeing what happened to Kevin Jennings happen to Maddox Madsen.
Yeah.
And second that, another point is with Ashton Genty, I'm surprised that we're 22 minutes into this podcast, and that's the first time we've mentioned Ashton Genty. So if you had that on your bingo card, But the Boise State, obviously with Dirk Cutter, the OC, uses the run game to set things up in the pass game. Right? He does a really good job for the most part calling plays. We've questioned some of the things over the course of the season. But how will Boise State's now reworked and feeling pretty good about our offensive line, how will they handle what's a really, really, really good Penn State defensive line and a couple of big-time stud linebackers back there who terrorize the SMU offense on Friday? So, or I guess that was Saturday, yesterday. So, to me, it's going to be, can Boise State's offense outscore Penn State? Because you're right. I don't know how the defense is going to match up. Tyler Warren may be running free in the secondary the entire game. I don't know. And to touch on the environment, Carter, I was at the 2010 Fiesta Bowl against TCU, and it wasn't a home game, right? I guess more of a sterile environment, more friendly, but it was electric in there, like for both sides. It wasn't like heavily favoring ones. It's going to be a fun experience. That's very, very the acoustics in there are interesting with the weird like Jiffy Pop over the stove top of the stadium. It looks on I'm saying you pop it over the stove. And the grass inside that they have a track and wheeled in. It's going to be interesting, but can Boise State's offense outscore or keep up and put the team in good position? And can Stacey Collins close this circle?
Yep.
And have the special teams perform as well as they should. Really, the last couple of games they've done a lot better.
Yeah. I think a top tier special teams performance in this game would really kind of exercise the special teams demons we've had throughout this season, and make up for that Oregon game.
Yeah,
that's the way to make up for it, is have a good showing this game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chris, any other points? You think maybe some key points?
Yeah, I do. I think, obviously Penn State's Big Ten, every year top 10 recruiting class, but Boise State, this offense has some legitimate Big Ten level weapons. And obviously it's Ashton Genty, and there's no one denying that. But I think that it's overlooked how important Matt Lauder could play in this game. He is he could very well go anywhere in the country after the season. He is an NFL type tight end, and somebody that could make a huge difference in this game, off the play action, blocking even. I mean, so I think Matt Lauder, if Boise State wants to win, he might play a major factor. And then on the defense, I know, like you guys both said, I don't know what's going to happen. But if we do win, I know one thing that has to happen, and that's get pressure on that quarterback.
Yes.
Because Penn State likes to throw the ball deep. And, boy, we all know how that has gone this season. You just can't give him time back there. If they do, it might get ugly. That's all I'm going to say. I have all the faith in the world in this defense, more than a lot of people on X, obviously. But I think if they can get some pressure on them and limit that deep throws, that Boise State's got a chance. But we got to pick your spots. This is, we are the underdog. We are. If this was a boxing match, it would be a huge, muscly guy versus a little skinny guy, and you just got to kind of pick your jabs, right?
Pick your shots. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep. I definitely think this is kind of like the Oregon game where we just need to have our moments and just try to keep everything in front of us. Hope Ashton Jeanty can break off 2 of the runs he had and just really just try to pick our moments. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically, yeah. So, viewers, put in the comments your Fiesta Bowl predictions. What do you think is going to happen? Maybe some last-minute field goals that go our way this time around.
Yeah.
But for this episode of the Bronco Country Roundup, that is it. So hopefully we're not doing another episode before the Fiesta Bowl, correct? We kind of decided on that.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this will be it.
All right, Bronco Nation. So that is all you're going to hear from us about the Fiesta Bowl. I very hope that the next time you see us, we're going to be talking about a semifinal game.
Huge freaking smiles on our faces.
Huge smiles talking about how Ashton Jeanty went for 405 touchdowns. But until then, that is going to be it. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Chris and Chase, for being here. And as always, go Broncos.
Go Broncos.